she shimmies, you follow, you swallow. Losers, non-producers, consumers, consumed propaganda's got me fuming. My people are doomed. Power to the people, power to the seekers. Instead, we're reduced to amps and speakers. $200 sneakers, acquisitions of blue designer suits, Benz and Lexus, battle of sexes, sport utility trucks and such. We're slaves to a quick buck. We run amok. How far can we run when we're stuck? The race is won by wisdom, not muscle. Still, we all struggle. Should we excuse the hustle for instant gratification, perpetuation of cultural mutilation? Yo, 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 hey.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
I go. I go. I go. I say, hey, yo, 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 hey.
Hey, yo, 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 hey.
We should be reaching for Orion. Instead, we have a love affair with dying. Getting drunk till we fold and dole till we blowed. Does the superficial high suffice for the lows? No time for idle. Introspection and life lessons are everyone's Quran, Torah, Bible. Gluttonous eats, defeats the true purpose of eats. The temple falls off from corn chemicals, toxins, and meats. You call food enriched when it's stripped of nutrients and bleach. I'm not meant to be free when flesh tone band-aids are peach. Every native / European contract was breached. What will Ebonics do for the disenfranchised? Mumia gets no justice cause Mumia is despised. Reverse discrimination versus racism will never be tied. English, the bastard language of the not so civilized. The gift of spliced tongues is what the Western language gives. So isn't broken English like a double negative? Yo, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
I go. I go. I go. Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, Lord, yo, hey.
Hey, yo, Lord, hey.
Myth, interpreted as it was later on in history, led to profound conceptions of the woman as inferior, and sometimes in some civilizations as essentially evil. So she's supposed to be the great seductress, the weaker kind, etc. This was not the case in the African mythology. So that you already had a divine myth which gave a basis. It was a sort of bedrock for a reality that would give the woman greater freedom and power. It is not an accident, therefore, that many of the goddesses of the Europeans were black. They could have chosen their own women, they chose some of their own women, but the most important goddesses were black. Not just for the African in the civilization of Greek. The Greek was so profoundly affected by the Africans that the goddess of chastity was a black woman, Artemis. The goddess of wisdom was a black woman, Minerva. The goddess of beauty was a black woman, Diana. And many of their great mythological figures which were critical to the vision of history, the history of the Greeks in the Odyssey. The woman who has the power to draw Odysseus and all his crew into her, is Circe, who is represented as a black woman with African features. The golden fleece is a black woman who
Don't say nothing else, man. You hear what I said?
I heard Bob Johnson said he was talking to the higher powers, I guess the government, about our reparations. And I guess the numbers that they come up with were, name is Calhoun and Gozy, Northern Light Shopping Center. You want more than just a nice cut, good conversation, good vibe, good music. Come see me at 3512 Cleveland.
Women, but the most important goddesses were black, not just for the African now in the civilization of the Greek. The Greek was so profoundly affected by the Africans that the goddess of chastity was a black woman, Artemis. The goddess of wisdom was a black woman, Minerva. The goddess of beauty was a black woman, Diana. And many of their great mythological figures which were critical to the vision of history, the history of the Greeks in the Odyssey, the woman who has the power to draw Odysseus and all his crew into her, is Circe, who is represented as a black woman with African features on the Greek vases. The woman who helps Jason win the Golden Fleece is a black woman, Medea. The woman who marries Perseus, the Greek hero.
The African Heritage Diet consists of 6 lessons. Lessons where we reach back to our African heritage to find culturally appropriate health and wellness practices.
Man, I done asked you to shut your mouth. Yeah, you. I done asked you already, right?
What did I do?
Lesson
You just
1,
opened your mouth again.
Asking you a question.
Lesson 2 are
was
greens.
answering
Greens
it.
is the
Yeah,
largest
shut
part
up.
in the base
Please.
of the African Heritage Diet food pyramid. So many greens should be consumed. And as you move up the pyramid, those are the things that you consume in lesser proportionate amounts. Whole grains. Beans and rice, lesson 4. Tubers and napkins, lesson 5. Lesson 6. Fruits, vegetables, and a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna help him with that. He said no, I just told you.
I am a genius. My ancestors were geniuses. My ancestors have made me a genius in all that I think, say, and do. I must declare myself a genius. I am a genius. Whenever I am myself, I practice my geniusness and do great things. All my thoughts, choices,
I just
and
asked him to
deeds
shut up. Now you gonna
must
start running your mouth?
express my geniusness.
I am a genius. My decisions must always be in the best interest of myself, my family, my people, and my God. Only then will I and everyone I know that I am a genius.
I am a genius. At all times, my geniusness must reflect my culture. My geniusness must serve my God. My geniusness must make me be one in love and harmony with my family. My geniusness must protect my people. Yes, at all times I must demonstrate excellence because I am a What is a lion without his pride? What is a whale without his pod? What is a monkey without his troop? What is a wolf without his pack? The answer is very simple. They are the same thing that a human being is without a tribe. Pray.
The melanin embedded in our skin is a gift.
Hold on.
Oh my God! When I say too black, you say too strong. Too black, too strong.
Hold on.
All right.
We were born to be great. Oh my gosh, when I say too black, you say too strong. Too black. We were born to be great.
Hey, Clay. Clay. Uh-oh, messed up. All right, we about to get started. I got some technical difficulties. Let me go on and handle some business real quick. Hold on. Where we at? A new screen. Let me go on there. Lord have mercy. So I added a new screen and I have to adjust the order. See if I can fix this. Oh, that won't work. Okay, I gotta figure out how to use it. All right. So, all right. Here I come. Here I come. I want to welcome you here.
Here.
Yeah, welcome you here to the show today. I want to welcome you to the show today. This is DiGyeTV. This is the Hot Tim on Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Busting up on the boards right now, trying to figure out how to get certain things to work, but it ain't working out the way I thought it would. So I'm not going to just build around it. So, but let me see, how can I do that? All right, I don't know. But anyway, family, this is Brother Tim coming at you live and direct. And today we are joined by Brother Calhoun. Yesterday, if you didn't catch it, we had a great interview with Brother Dista. Y'all need to go and check that out. We talked about the crypto life. Y'all need to check it out before I go and take it down, because we are going to put, we're going to build a workshop around that so that we can make sure that the family is aware of what's going on and how we're going to use cryptocurrency in our community. And like I said, we're not talking about just investment. But speaking of investments, Brother John Calhoun is coming with a powerful concept that he wants to share with the world and have a discussion with some of y'all out there. We will be opening up the black lines a little bit later. Give us a little bit of time to have our initial conversation, and then we will open up the black lines for you to come on in and let us know your thoughts on the subject. So we got Brother John, and if you would give him a round of applause. That's right. Give it up. Don't be shy. Give it up. Don't be shy. Don't you do it. Don't be shy. Give it up. All right, Brother John. So what is it that you was going to talk about today, my friend?
Oh man, but then Alabama.
So I mean, but you got bring offs. I don't know what you're talking about. So what's you talking about?
So basically, when the Leopold of Belgium, out of the country state, his researchers found the Ashango bone, which is sitting in a drawer on the 19th floor at the Museum of Arts and Sciences in Belgium, which it was basically they found a workable mathematical that was part of this bone. But the thing is that the mathematical system was approximately 20,000 years old.
A mathematical system 22,000 years old. And what does that mean? What does that mean to the people? What should that? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Wow.
According to history, the early civilizations would have only been like, if you go, say, the Mesopotamia is supposed to be about 10,000 years old.
Right.
Well, this is 12 years older than that. 12,000 years older than that, and in the heart of Africa, nowhere near, like more than the states to to get place from where not Valley is, like because South Africa, but it's nowhere near the Valley.
So you're talking about embarking on deep, and so now, so you mentioned the Bashango bone, and they use this bone. Let me see if I can find a picture so I can show it to the family. And it's called the Bashango bone.
Ishango, Ishango.
And keep on going. So tell them about some of the other stuff that you've been running into.
So as I was looking up that, then I found out about these this other bone that's even older, called the Lababo bone. They found in the Swaziland mountains in Swaziland. Basically, what they found out about this bone is another mathematical system that actually, except that when they did carbon dating for this, they said it was 35,000 years old.
Okay. So, all right, now for my listeners that might not know, I mean, once again, the significance. So you jump right into the bones. Why is this?
I guess I'm just hot on it right now.
Right, I know you. I mean, it's because you got you. I'm trying to get to catch up with you. You at a point, and what we want to do is bring people to the point of where you are. Because I mean, what you're saying, Daddy, I'm with.
With no part of the world.
Go ahead. Hello.
So basically, if you go 35,000 years ago, the rest of the world is considered, it's a prehistoric world where supposedly, no one has developed anything else. And if black people developed mathematics 35,000 years ago at least, it wouldn't be another 25,000 years before anybody else would develop anything resembling intellectual thought. And yet, we're developing a mathematical system. Basically rewriting the entire history of our understanding of human development, putting black people way out ahead of everybody else by a huge amount. Complete rewriting of the history books.
I don't know, something going on here.
It goes along with... Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to show this Shango bone, but it's not showing up on the screen. All they seeing is us. And I'm sitting up here bugging out seeing what's going on here. Hold on for a second. Let me check my restream. But I can't change the screen yet. Let me see what's going on here. It looked like we froze. Hold on. Hold on, son. Matter of fact, I think we are froze. I'm gonna go on. I know how to fix that. I'm gonna stop the stream on for a second and let the thing catch up with us. Now it's slowly, I don't know what's going on, but it's cool. Give us a second. There we go. The stream stopped. Let me let it reset. Boom. We'll start streaming again. Simple fix. I think I overloaded the computer, which is cool. All right, it should be coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Where we at? There we go. All right, now I want to make sure people can see this bone they're talking about. So you saying that this bone, the Ishango bone, at first was one of the first ones that you found, and you said this bone is an ancient mathematical, it says right here, perhaps the oldest mathematical artifact in existence. The Ishango bone above was unearthed in 1950, and then the Belgian colony of the Congo, now the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It was discovered by the Belgian anthropologists. We don't need to know all that. But they estimate between 20,000 and 25,000 years ago. And you're saying that this was a mathematical tool.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So now, Catch us up. Now we're gonna go back because I'm gonna have to walk. I'm gonna have to walk you through this because you excited for being excited, but it's a message from this that you want the people to get. So when you first contacted me about all this stuff, you were talking about a documentary. You want to do a documentary, and you was talking about the importance of architecture. Go ahead, walk us through that first, and then we could get to the Ishango bone and all this other stuff.
So I mean, basically, if you look and they show like, it's a reason, for example, why white people like to pat themselves on the back in terms of their intelligence and their development, because they'll show you stuff like the Parthenon or like the Colosseum, the great sculptures of the artists of that time in ancient history, or they'll show you like Sumatra or Thailand and those ancient temples, India, cultures that are respected. They tended to be cultures in our world that you built something. You showed if you could, like with the stone circle of Senegambia. It's like these stones that they built, basically like 4 Stonehenges between Gambia and Senegal. And if you look at these stones, it's like there's a number of them that weigh like 10 tons. Black people were able to cut these stones and then bring them hundreds of miles and then set these things up to create these patterns. But you can't do that without having some significant levels of advancement in science and engineering. Like you just can't say, oh, we're going to cut out 10-ton blocks and transport them hundreds of miles and just do it just because you say you want to. Like you got to better organize. You got to have, a culture where you can get a tremendous work pool of people that are even compelled to, be a part of this. Like it requires a hell of an undertaking. But that undertaking, according to the story of what they like to say about us in history, was that outside of Egypt, you basically just got this whole, what they like the mythology of the dark continent. This whole place where just black people run around living in mud huts.
So you...
And thank God for me, we just want to know what to do with stuff. We want to save us from our ignorance.
So what you're saying is, what I'm hearing is that you want to save the rest of Africa from the mythology, because of course Egypt is the golden gem supposedly of Africa, and what you're saying is that there are civilizations that we just touch on, because some of us touch on them, but what you're saying, there is a deeper level of information out there about what we were doing in Africa, and is much deeper and possibly older than what's going on in what we call Egypt, or what other people know as Kemet.
Absolutely.
And you want to expose this because what this shows is that there was stuff going on before, like you said, before they came and saved us from the jungle. Like, give us some more examples. So this is why you got on Ishango bone. Ishango bone takes us so far back. You know what I'm saying? I want us to look at some of the stuff that's a little bit more, you know what I'm saying, more. What are some of the other things that you done found out in your studies that kind of excited you to try to put this project together along with the other projects that you're working on?
So one of the things I found out was a place called Dar Tachit in Mauritania. And it's a city, a series of cities that was built in West Africa, 3500 BC. So at the same time that they were building Egypt, they were building this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have You have the stone circle of Senegambia. They got that at about 200-300 BC. You have, and that's between Senegal and Gambia. You have going to over to East Africa. You got Axum in Ethiopia, and that's another tremendous civilization, and that's about 1000 BC at least. You have, and I mean, what I'm saying is, like, some of these places, like the level of design, the architecture, like, this isn't like, oh, well, look at how dope like, we were killing it. Like Axum, you put Axum up to anything that the kings ever did in their past, and be like, what? Like, you saying that yours is better? But I mean, maybe in the eye of the beholder, the complexity, the intricacy, the level of sophisticated design and engineering, you really right there with us. Because I only want to put you and say we're right there with you. You're right there with us. And so you start to get when you have this, if you go from this place of like, oh, Africa's a continent in mythology where civilized natives, all of a sudden I can show you Senegal, Benin. I can show you, like I said, Gambia. I can show you Ghana. I forgot the name of the city in Ghana, but that's 4,000 years old. I can show you.
And we're talking stone. We're talking stone cities.
Yeah, we're talking stone. And not to go with the fact that, like, there's all kind of things written about these other cities that were, people had stuff with wood and other things, and just over there stuff fell apart. So we developed civilizations. Because, for example, there's a culture that's considered one of the oldest on the planet called the Knot culture. And it's like everything I've seen on this is just that, like, these people were thriving like 8,000 years ago. They're doing like terracotta and ceramics like 8,000 years ago. Big culture, like, coming out of kind of in the same years, all of a sudden you start to get yourself flicking instead of this whole story that we weren't building stuff. And in fact, like, there's a whole bunch of people that have been studying. There's a mystery culture, and I say mystery because there's a huge culture of these fractal circular buildings, which they said the Europeans try to call them cattle crawls, but you can actually see, there's pictures of them where you can see it better, like if you're above ground, but there's these networks of these villages in these kind of geometrical fractal patterns, and they get aged out to anywhere from 3,000 to it's been argued that they could be as old as 30,000 years old, because of Africa's most. I mean, and I use Stonehenge because Stonehenge is just something that so many people know about. But there's the most substantial one is called Adams Observatory, which obviously a white man put his name on that, which we're gonna eventually have to do something about that. But essentially, there's a science called astroarchaeology.
Right.
So look at something that you built. It's like how they know how old the what's the name is, Stonehenge. Because you can look at like where the stars and celestial bodies align, and you can tell what the intent was by looking at where they were going to align at a particular time. So you can tell that, like, 4,000 years ago, the sun would have hit at just a slightly different angle. Oh, this is 4,000 years old. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they did this to Adams Observatory, which is all the way down to South Africa. Like, in South Africa, so now you're talking about as far away from Egypt as you can get. But they got this, and they're like, at a minimum, this has to be observing and understanding the movements of stars. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. I'm having some difficulties because of the switching of screens. I got to figure that out. I'm gonna figure it out though. But anyway, so why is this important, man? I mean, it's like, okay, cool. So, because like we're talking about we're gonna have to raise these funds. We're gonna have to go and create this content so that we can make sure that people see this. What is it that you want to do to kind of expose this? Because you just want to make sure that people know that it's bigger than Egypt. Because I feel you on that, because it's like a lot of our research is stuck in East Africa, which kind of leaves us those of us that descended from West Africa, it's like we got to trace our roots all the way back to Egypt for a touch of greatness, except for every now and then we got supposedly a kingdom that rose here, a kingdom that rose there. What you're saying is that there was civilization there, and maybe at the same time, or maybe even before, there was a Kemet.
Oh, absolutely.
And so like I said, go ahead.
West Africa, I mean, certainly East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and South Africa. Like, there's no region of Africa you can't go to or I can't bring you to ancient architecture that's more than 2,000 years old. We don't need Egypt.
You say we don't need Egypt. We'll take it, but we don't need it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's not in the sense the only crown in our jewel. It's not only the jewel. It's not the only jewel in our crown. And I think is that what you want to show?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want to show.
Okay, cool. And how you plan to show this, John? I mean, what do you want to do, man? How you gonna show this, my friend?
Well, I mean, the first part about it is that it's got to be a documentary series.
Oh, a documentary series.
Just,
a series?
Like how you see it on, like.
You can't cover this in a 1 hour show, man.
I mean, the thing about it is that, like.
You know we ain't got no history, so it should only take about an hour, right?
Nah, bro, there's like, and mind you, I'm just staying in BC. I'm only staying in BC. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that we built somewhere between maybe like 300 or 400 AD up to like maybe 1500 AD, and like Urdo in Nigeria, like we built Urdo walls 80 foot tall, 20 feet wide, and 100 miles around in a circle, fortification wall. And we built that at 800 AD. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At that time, that would have been, Urdo was the biggest city in the world when it was in its thriving point. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't just a city in the world. Like Urdo would have competed with cities that we have right now. Like it was way bigger than anything in the world up until cities that developed under 200 years. Like big Urdo was, it was so big, it dwarfed all over cities for 1,000 years. Metropolis in Nigeria. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean,
about 1,300.
When we talk about putting together a documentary, or we talking about just going and collecting pictures, what do you want to do, man? That's what I'm trying to get to.
I want to get footage, but I also want to do like some carbon dating. So, for example, like this mystery. So, like these fractal structures. When I talk about this mystery culture. Because no one's given a particular name to it. It's just people have found these structures. But the structures are related. They're labeled. People have them as being as old as like 30,000 years old, but people say that they could be even older than that. See, we need to get some carbon dating done. Mm-hmm. Because if these things are 30,000 years old, then literally the history book's got to get tossed into the trash. And that's not even being funny. Because that would mean that, like, black people were building advanced culture so much earlier than anywhere else in the world that you got to throw all the history books out because the history books are actually completely wrong. Like, if they're saying Mesopotamia and they like to talk about the Nile Valley Plain, the Nile Valley theory goes completely out of water. Yeah. Nile Valley is like a child compared to what we might have been doing in South Africa. You know what I mean? Mm. If it's 30,000 years old, you got the Nile Valley coming in, and what is that? That's 20,000 years after. 20,000 years after.
So, I mean, like, are you talking about going to these places and, I mean, filming? I mean, because like I said, we can collect all the pictures on the internet because all these pictures are on the internet.
Now, number one, all of the pictures aren't on the internet. Number two, even the ones that they do have on the internet, a lot of them haven't been done because this thing deserves to be done at the same level as what they do when they do like engineering and empire and stuff like that with like when they look at Greece and when they look at, different cultures in the world.
Yeah.
Like we we need to have our stuff be put on the scale of like, it deserves to be put on the scale of anything. Like it should be like the most incredible thing that Discovery Channel or the Learning Channel or the History Channel has ever put on their network. It should be something that people are talking about all over the world. Like, holy crap, black people built stuff like this, like how long ago? And like where it literally revolutionizes the world's mind about black people, and then revolutionizes black people's understanding of who they are for themselves.
I mean, but a lot of this going on right now with what's going on out here in the world. But because I mean, a lot of this, you know, because like even when I showed the pictures of the Gambia, the circles in Senegambia, they look, you know, they look small. I mean, just the way the pictures are on Google. So what I'm trying to get across is that you're talking about going and actually documenting this stuff firsthand, filming it, so that go ahead.
Talking to the scientists who are doing the analysis, because they have archaeologists and they're digging up the dirt and they're finding out, you know, the way that they reach into the ground and try to tell you how people lived and what they can determine about the people based upon how they live, as well as I guess a part of it too is that like it needs to be because like, you know, the stone circle of Central Gambia, I guess, you know, the bigger stones are closer to the ones at Stonehenge, but it's not as much the height of the one location as much as like there's like 17,000 of them. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying. The picture I showed, it was about 9 of them in a circle.
Nah,
you see what I'm saying? So this
17,000.
So you just see, because now what you're saying is, now for somebody that wasn't listening, and you just say like we did, if we left it like we left, and they'll go look at that and they'll see that picture, they think that little circle that was that's on Google is all that there is. What you're saying is there is so much more. So it's documented, but it's not really documented, and we haven't really seen the scope at which our people were building. And what you want to do is you want to expose this, so that we can have it in our homes, so we can see it for ourselves and be like, damn, we was getting it in.
We were getting it in. I mean, that's really the thing. We were getting it in.
Right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because like I said, I mean, because like when you first came up with talking about the project. Now, before I even go to that, tell them what makes you qualified to do this, man? What's your qualifications? Who are you to be able to think you don't look like, I seen your picture, you don't look nothing like what's his name? Spike Lee. You don't look like Spike Lee, man.
Hey man, for me, I mean, it's probably as deep as the fact that I taught African history at Ohio State.
You taught African history? Okay. What else?
I mean, so I have some, you know, I mean, that's how I started. I mean, I started finding out about this stuff when I was at Ohio State. That's where it started, when I started finding out about some of these locations, and then over the years kept on researching, and then probably they found out a lot of stuff much more recently. And then also with the advent of the internet, the pieces that are out there started being able to be, you know, you got little pieces where you can find it on the you can find little, like with a number of these places, they've actually got little different little things that they've shot on certain places that you can find on YouTube. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they're not talking to the scientists. You can't really see, because like I want to use LiDAR. And LiDAR is basically a way where you can so some of this stuff, for example, is in dense rainforest. Like you could walk by it and not notice it. You could just think, oh, it's like there's some rocks here, and there's, you know, there's grasses and mosses and stuff that have grown over it, and not realize you're looking at a temple. LiDAR will able to just where the structures of stone will be clear, and you can clear everything else away, so you can see the full size of it. In fact, there's a city called they're calling it, I think, Calhoun. I think they said it had maybe like 80,000 people, like around 1,000 years ago in southern Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They thought it was much smaller than what it was until they hit it with the LiDAR, and when they hit it with the LiDAR, it kind of X-rayed through all the foliage and everything, and they were like, oh my God, this is like 10 times bigger than what we thought. So like being able to go in there, so I guess I want to do the documentary, but I also think that like there might even be some research that we might want to try to help them be able to do,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can bring like the LiDAR stuff. We can bring in. I also think about the AR and VR piece. So like the VR, virtual reality. Virtual reality will allow you, like, one of the things I'd always want to do is look at the slave dungeon. So like I can, like with a VR camera, I can bring that camera into a slave dungeon, and essentially you put your VR goggles on there, and then you can basically literally walk into the slave dungeon and look all around and see it. That's what VR. At the same level, it's like I can bring you into these locations, and it's like, especially like for kids, like they can walk in and be like, oh my goodness, this is a temple that black people built 2,000 years ago in West Africa. And really, instead of like the non-history that we're given about our people in the continent, have this rich visual history of these ancient things that we built, which I think is a part of, we want to revolutionize black consciousness, show black people that we were doing genius architecture and design, when in fact most black people, I mean, you know how it was. I mean, in the old days of like when we was coming up,
Right.
Black people strung so tight to Egypt that it's like, because he was like, if we don't have Egypt, then oh no, what do we do? What do we do about Egypt?
But I mean, we still talk about Mali and Songhai and Ghana empires. I mean, because when you say how would this? How do you believe that this would revolutionize? Am I saying it right? Revolutionize the consciousness, supercharge it. How? What would this do? I mean, because hey, I got hidden colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
It's black genius, because it's like there's not one of these places. Like, just if you go to the ancient stuff we built, there's like over 20 places. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If you go to like the Middle Ages and like when white folks are building castles and stuff like that, and you look at what we're building throughout Africa, there's even more places than that. There's like 30 different places. Like black people were building all kind of stuff, like all over the continent. And it's basically, it's kind of like the stuff that I found in Nigeria. It's like I have not talked to a single Nigerian person, and I've been talking to, and I have Nigerian friends, and I've been including, one from a highly educated backgrounds, and I'm talking to them about this place, and none of them have heard about it. Not a single one.
So not only are they keeping it from us, we're over there keeping it from ourselves.
Yeah, it's like you got people that live in Nigeria and they don't even know about this place.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. And you just and the piece is, you want to shine a light on this and really start the discussion around these places. You know what I'm saying? All right, what's the significance of place? What's the significance of building? You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, because that's what really got me hyped up when you start talking about it, right? You know what I'm saying? So you want to document these things and put them together. But once again, I ask, what makes you qualified to do this? And you still ain't answered my question. You understand what I'm saying?
I mean, I don't know who's really qualified to do it.
No, it's some people that's qualified to do this. It's some people that have a right to do this. And I'm asking you, are you one of those?
Well, if you talk about having a right to do it, I'm black, so I mean, I don't know.
No, I know a lot of black motherfuckers that don't deserve to do don't deserve to do shit. I need you to tell these people who you are, man. That's what I'm trying to do. I shouldn't even have to pull out you like this. We know you taught at Ohio State. We know that you got a master's degree, but there's something particular about you that make you qualified to do some shit like this.
Oh, I've been researching this stuff for the last 2 decades of my life.
Oh, God. Okay. So have I. But I can't make no goddamn movie.
Oh, because I'm a...
Wait, no, stop. Hold on. This is a humble motherfucker here. Hold on. Wait, stop. Did y'all hear this? Right? I'm pulling teeth here. I'm throwing bait. And you know what I'm saying? He like... So go ahead, tell him once again, what makes you qualified to do this type of thing?
But then I'm a film? I guess I'm trying to figure out what you're looking for, man, because it's not occurring to me.
John, everybody is not a filmmaker, man.
Okay, all right. Well,
you a filmmaker. You have films under your belt. You have traveled. Huh?
I've made multiple documentary films already.
Oh, okay. So you are qualified to do this. You know, because a lot of times, because I want people to understand that what I'm trying to bring here, what we're trying to bring you here, Gye-Nyame Journey, is quality. This brother not only has been doing research in his own history, our history in America, our history in Africa. He's also a documentary. He's a documentarian. He's a film person. He went to school for this. He studied this. So he has the ability to bring across the idea in a way that can not only fire up the adults, but possibly could fire up our children. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like I said, at Gye-Nyame Journey, we're gonna push to help this brother go and fulfill this project, because it's an exciting project to me, because you know it's gonna require travel. We're not talking about just throwing together a slideshow. We're talking about, you heard the man talking about 3D cameras. That's gonna cost some dough. We got to raise that money. You know what I'm saying? So he could walk in the room and actually do the VR thing. We could do virtual tours of the slave dungeons, but that's on the bottom of the list. Let's go on and do some tours of some of these ancient spots. Let me ask you a question, John. Are these spots heavily, because with all this information, they got to be doing a lot of research and a lot of excavating down here in West and South and Central Africa right now.
So again now?
I said they must be doing a lot of research down there on this stuff right now, because you know they want to make sure everybody know how great we was in the past. It got to be gobs and gobs of researchers out there doing a lot of work on this type of stuff.
There are some, but the part of the issue becomes is that they're not known. And then there's also a concern because there's situations, for example, like with Adams Observatory and this culture I'm talking about, basically it's a mystery culture. Because here's the thing about these, I'm talking about these stone circles, and I don't know I know some people who are studying it, but here's the thing. There's these stone circles where they make them in these fractal patterns and they make these villages. The thing is that there's tens of thousands of them, okay? And the thing is that they're spread all throughout southern Africa. So the range of where they're spread is more than the size of the United States. That's how big of the range of these tens of thousands of these structured buildings are. Like it's across an area that larger than the United States. So there's a debate between scientists about exactly how old this is. So there's one group of scientists that wants to say that is maybe a little over 1,000 years old, which would still be quite incredible. But there's more scientists that are suggesting that you've got to put it at least 3,000 years old. And then there's another group who are some of the most studied on it, and they're like, no, you got to go to 30,000 years old. See, we have to find out what that number is, because if that's 30,000 years old, that's just a very different history of humanity. That rewrites the history of humanity.
But you know, there's been a lot of discoveries that should have rewritten history, but it hasn't. What make you think what you're working on is going to actually do that?
Because it's not really actually just one discovery. It's not like one location. It's like when I tell you that there's over 20 locations at the quote-unquote ancient level, the BC level. Well, you know how many of those have been taught to the world?
How many?
20?
How many?
Zero.
Now say that again.
0.
Out of, okay.
This stuff is completely hidden from the world. It's completely hidden even from Africa. I mean, literally, some archaeologists are working on some of these locations. But it's like you look at Punt. Everything I'm looking at, I see this information that says that if you really want to look at the line of succession, that Egypt is at the end of the line. Before Egypt, you got the coaches of Sudan, Tasseti. Before Tasseti, you go back, and you got to have a discussion about what you're gonna say about Nubia. But before you go back even further, and they talk about Punt, and Punt being in Somalia. So now you're looking at but they haven't even looked at yet. Mm-hmm. There are scholars that are looking at ruins. They're finding ruins all across southern Africa that haven't even been analyzed yet. Like, it's working to show this is of ancient cultures that, I mean, it's like, I mean, honestly, it should be like the biggest thing in the media. Like, it's like, holy cow, black people done built all this incredible stuff 1,000 years, and we just never knew.
Man, you know, I'm trying to figure out why they would do that. You know, but you know, mine is not the reason why. Mine is but to do or die. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I'm serious. I mean, because the point is, I want to help you. I think you onto something. You know what I'm saying? And I do understand the importance of the architecture and being able to show that at some point in time we did do great things. But I have to ask the question: haven't we kind of did that already? I mean, haven't we? I mean, demonstrated to our young folk, demonstrated to ourselves that we're capable of great things. I mean, haven't we? I mean, and with all the information that they do have about things that we did, why do you think that the young people are not connecting with it? Why do you think our people are not connecting with the fact that we have done a lot of great stuff, man?
Because I think you got to have even more. I think that it's like, I thought about this. I want to bet, it's like, if you really want to like get into black people that are genius, you got to show them so many examples of genius that they get bored of it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, we built this so-and-so BC when the white people were doing this in BC. Yeah. But then it's like, because it's like one time, you know, people are like, oh yeah, I hear one. But it's like, I show you 20? One versus 20 is a whole heck of a lot. 20 almost gets you to the point where young people might even start getting bored. But they're bored with the knowledge of how brilliant our people were. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's boring. Our people are brilliant. We get it. But that's such a shift from how we think about ourselves right now in the world. Like, if you got a whole bunch of black kids and they watch and they see so much architecture and things that we designed, and this is not to mention like the artwork and the potteries and the sculpture, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's
So
like,
so how long you talking about staying out in the field, man?
bro, and that's where I was talking to a couple of my friends from the continent today. As a matter of fact, one of my boys from Somalia, because he was like, "There's no way we can film in Somalia. It's too dangerous." And then I was talking to another one of my friends whose father, her father was a diplomat. And so, I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I'm actually really looking at. That's what I was researching today. Actually, I found a website on the State Department that's kind of telling me about the condition of the countries, because not all the countries are as stable as countries in the United States, of course.
Right.
So, like, I'm working on those logistics. But so I don't think we can go to every country, honestly.
Right.
And then I'm not necessarily worried about going to every country because there's 20. I'm thinking about 12 to 15. But my stronger number is 12. There's 12 places in particular I think give people the clearest idea of what we could do. But then there's a whole bunch of stuff that you gotta look at. Because as much as there's ancient African architecture, there's a whole nother valuable documentary to be done for, I guess you might call it medieval African architecture or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, how much would a project like this cost, man?
Now this is why. I mean,
come on now.
I can't see.
Come on now. Come on now.
I mean, on the low end, I think it'd probably be
I'm
$250,000.
toasting the ancestors every day. You said how much?
On the low end, I feel like it's $250,000. That's what I would say. Because it's like you got to go to Africa, but you're talking about Africa is what? Almost 4 times the size of the United States?
Yes.
And so you're talking about stuff.
And we talking about equipment?
You're talking about some equipment, and then you're talking about going, because I don't know exactly how far it is, for example, to go from like the Sudan to South Africa, but I know it's further than going from New York to California. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
so like,
one of the elders asked which country. So can you name some of the countries that you researched that you was talking about going? So you would need a camera. We need a crew. The people that's gonna be willing to go and be able to take care of the equipment, because you know, I mean, like if this is a Gye-Nyame Journey Media production, ain't nobody stealing shit. You better come back with every last bit of it. You left a film cap over there, you better go get that shit. Yeah, I'm just saying. But Elder Margarita asks, which countries in Africa are you talking about? So we know we talking about Senegambia. So you talking about Senegal and Gambia.
Senegal, Gambia,
Ghana, Nigeria, Mauritania,
South Africa.
Wait, what part? Because it's South. So you got South Africa country, but then you got different.
The Republic of South Africa.
Okay, cool. All
right. Sudan, Ethiopia.
What part of the Sudan? Southern Sudan?
Southern Sudan.
Okay.
Ethiopia, Niger. That's off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. So he put together a nice little write-up, you know. But I mean, like I said, I mean this is one of those far-reaching projects that I think that we could drum up enough interest in to possibly, you know, I mean, because hell, I mean, just as a matter of asking the ancestors and doing the goddamn work. You know what I'm saying? We can make it happen. And then Sister Margarita said Benin.
Benin, yep, that's another one.
You know, she like, don't leave Benin now. You know, and so give me the framework of the four-part series that you're talking about. Now, are you talking about 2,500 a piece? Because you're talking about doing 4. That's $2 million.
No, I'm talking about the whole thing.
I ain't gonna do it. That ain't gonna work at no $250,000, dog.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, this is.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That shit ain't gonna.
I first have to like. I don't have like a precise number I could give you right now.
Right. I ain't asking for. I mean, but I'm just telling you. Regardless, I ain't got a precise number either. But I know $250,000 ain't gonna do that.
I think it's gonna be at least. I mean, I put my low end. My low number is $250,000.
Okay. I did hear you say your low number, but don't when you dealing with the people's money, we can't do low numbers because you say $250,000, they're gonna expect you to do a miracle with $250,000. Sister Margarita said she lived in Benin for about 2 years.
Yeah, see, that's where I look because there's a whole bunch of things because Africa's 54 countries, all at different levels of development.
Right. I mean, because a lot of people talk about Africa as if it's one country. You know what I'm saying?
Nowadays, you can fly in without a problem to Ethiopia, and then you just can't. You don't want to go to Somalia because you got a good chance of getting killed. But then you're gonna probably have to go by road up to the Sudan. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like I have to see what the status is in terms of travel for each one of these countries. That's a part of what I was doing today. And that's a part of what I called some of my people that are from, were raised in those areas, just trying to get a sense of how they feel about what it would be like for me to move through these different places with a team. And then they felt like that I should probably, like if I went out with an 8-person team, that I should probably have at least 4 security people that are holding us down all the way through.
Yeah. And everybody that's holding equipment better be trained. $250,000, I ain't taking no excuses. I'm just letting you know. I'm just being honest. I mean, because you talking about $2 million. I think it would be about $250,000 per episode. So how would you break down these episodes? I mean, just right now and how you thinking about it.
There's 12 places in particular that I'm most focused on, and I think 4 episodes, an hour long each, and each episode spends like around 20 minutes focused on one particular place.
So now, are you trying to get these aired, or are you trying to push them on the internet?
No, that's an interesting thing because, so for example, the AR and VR, I want that to be very much more about the educational aspect, and that's something where I want to be where, regardless of your age, you can buy some VR goggles and you can take the tour through ancient African architecture, something like that. And that I want to just be free for everybody to be able to go. These projects, the series itself, it feels like it needs to be either on Netflix or on like History Channel, Discovery Channel. Like it's got to be at that level. It's got to be at the big level.
All right, I'm gonna push back on that shit. Let me say this:
Go.
An hour. If you're doing an hour, I don't think an hour would do these justice. We know there's an audience out there for this type of documentary that will sit for 2.5 hours to 3 hours to see it. We know that there is a possibility for a documentary like this, if you make it powerful enough, to be able to be sold directly to the customer rather than being aired on Netflix and be trying to, I'm just saying, there's a way around where we could keep everybody's hands out this motherfucker, and we can raise the money as well as earn the money. You know what I'm saying? For other projects.
I like that. I guess a part of it is that like I want the educational aspect, but a part of how I see it is the propaganda. Like because I want to be in a position so that, because of course I want, it's most important for black people to know it, but I think it's also very important for people to know it, even in places like some of the places where people don't look too kindly on us in parts of the world. I want them to better see it as well. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Hold on.
So,
Hold on.
Go ahead. Homework.
Yeah, I just had to do a little, little promo there for Gye-Nyame Journey. So, but yeah. So,
5212.
Oh, hold on. John handling business. Let me go on. So, family, what y'all think? Anybody out there, anybody want to call in the number? Call in number 614-556-4535. Once again, that number is 614-4. Hold on, let me type it in. So who want in? Who want to call in, talk with Brother John? Because I think this is important. I think this is an important piece that we can actually go and build towards and work towards. Like I said, we need a documentary at Gye-Nyame Journey. You know what I'm saying? We really do. We got a professional documentarian. Sound like a documentarian. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we got a documentarian over here. I don't even know. Is that how you say it? A professional movie maker and shit. Let's put it that way. Right here, you know what I'm saying, at our disposal. And he's a writer. Because we got another project that I'm trying to get him to get finished. But, you know what I'm saying, part of that will move towards helping us be able to do this. But family, spread the word. Anybody got any questions or comments that they want to call in on? Brother John is here to answer them. The number is 614-556-4535. Once again, that number is 614-556-4535. Also, don't forget, at 9 p.m., we will be having Folk Tales for Grown Folks tonight. I'm just going to take me a short break and get back up in here, and we're going to get back to work, because that's how we do it here at Gye-Nyame Journey. Hey, John, I love what I do, man. I really love what I'm doing. I'm trying to make this not only a full-time gig for me, but a full-time gig for other folks like yourself. Because I believe that I'm surrounded by so much talent. I'm so blessed. And it's just, I would think it would be a crime for me to go to return to the earth and not have help people unleash their genius. Like you. You know what I'm saying? On a project where we could see it all the way through and leave a legacy, not only for our personal children, but for our extended family children. You know, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, this is one documentary that we could work on. There's no reason why G&J Media can't be working on several documentaries at the same time. So family, what y'all think? Some of y'all out there, I've seen some of y'all out there, so don't be shy. Once again, call that number 614-556-4535. If there's no questions, no comments, you can also post something up on the timeline. Let us know what you think. Should this be a yay or a nay on the project? Should we try to raise funds? You know what I'm saying? Or you still waiting for Brother John to finish his other book? Because you still owe us another goddamn book, Brother John. I'm just letting you know. So before we proceed with the documentary, we need to go and get this other book, because and actually, family, this fits in with his other project, because he talks about frames. And I think one of the things that he's trying to do with this documentary is to help us build a healthier frame of how we see ourselves.
That is exactly the reason why I want to do this project. I realized that, like, because you might, there's certain people like me and you, and we can feel it in ourselves. We can feel the power of who we are in ourselves. But so many of our own people, like, that's a struggle for them. And a part of I know what helped you is what helped me is, like, you start studying what your people did. And even in the limited stuff that I had seen, like of Timbuktu and Mali and Songhai, that helped me to develop my sense of self. I was like, okay, you know, we're developing these things. But when I look, it was like at Ohio State. It's like, you know, I was teaching this stuff at Ohio State. Quite frankly, the white kids were much more into it than the brothers. That's just real talk.
Mm.
Like,
Don't
I remember
say it ain't so.
Like, they're sitting there asking all these poignant questions, fascinated, and
that do fuck you up, don't it? When it messes you up. You be like, unbelievable.
Ain't to be the reverse. That's literally what I thought.
Unbelievable. But that's like another reason why I asked you. Because a lot of our folks have been that ain't working right. That ain't how that should be. Hold on.
Well, I mean,
no, I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about my scene change. My scene change was all wrong. But go ahead. I'm just like, you do the films right now, and I'm sitting up here trying to figure out how to do this these transitions on Mo, and it's taking too long.
But look at the Black Inventors, because one of the other projects I want to do, the Black Inventors, one story, we lost all our stories. So one thing I always think about when I saw Hidden Figures, I remember asking my mother before, and I still think about it every single day. And I was thinking about the fact that when I asked her, I said, "Mom, did anybody in your world?" Because because my mother was watching when we launched men out into space, and she was like, the whole world was watching. It was the biggest thing in the world, and yet they didn't tell people that the mathematical mind of the black women was a central resource that allowed us to get to outer space, allowed us to get to the moon. Like, they didn't let us have that story. Think about, and I asked my mother, I said, imagine during the time of racisms and hates, and you're a young girl, and all of a sudden, you hear about Calhoun Johnson, and you hear about these black women who are like the leading mathematicians at NASA. You realize, wow, black genius helped us get to the moon. It's like,
you feel good, but you know what some of the white people have said.
But don't just talk about it. You'll feel good. It's like that doesn't just reframe black people. That reframes the planet. Like, all of a sudden, black people realize, wow, black intelligence helped people get to the moon. Like, the whole world will be different just from that alone. Except for the fact that that's not the only story that we have of our intelligence in terms of.
I hear you, man. But you know, some of the motherfuckers back there would they would have been like, we ain't going to the moon. We're not going to the moon. If you're going to tell the people that, huh? You say what?
So damn next.
I'm just telling you. I'm being serious, man. Some of these people.
A part of the reason why we're in the state though is because of the fact. It's like my boy teaches. I got a boy that teaches African American history, right?
Right.
And he'll tell you right now. He's at Prairie View A&M.
Right.
And he's teaching this at a black college. He's teaching black history at a black college. And the kids are not even paying attention.
Right.
Because somewhere in their mind, they don't realize. They think, oh man, we were just slaves, man. We don't care about that. I
don't think that's it. I don't think that's it.
Oh, no, I'm telling you that's what he's telling me that they're saying to him.
But what I'm saying, listen, I'm in the same situation, and I got other people in the same situation. I don't think That's it. I really don't. There's too many stories out there. I mean, it's not the fact that oh, we was just slaves. No, it's something else. It's something else, man. It's something else that I'm just saying.
It's not one frame.
Right.
It's a group of frames. It's not just
what the hell you doing? Give me my lighter. I'm sorry.
Like it isn't just that they didn't know that we help people get to the moon. It's that they don't know that that Mark Dean helped to shrink the computer chip so that we could be talking on the cell phone right now. It's the fact that we don't know about Dr. Philip McGuire, who made the first supercomputer. Like, it's the fact that like we don't realize that a black man was doing heart transplants for a year before anybody else. It's the fact that it's like we're not missing one story. There's hundreds of stories. And by the time you get through all those stories, you got a whole different frame of black people know what we got right now. We don't not know one thing about ourselves. We know very little about ourselves. Like, that's why I talk about, like, the whole thing with the black inventors, because I look at that as another important project. Because we didn't invent a couple things. We invented crazy stuff. And so much crazy stuff that we invented, it literally tells an entire different case about who black people are. We don't know about Reconstruction. How many people realize that black people became millionaires after, black people were millionaires 10 years after slavery? How many people know about that?
Not a lot. Not a lot.
We were doing.
That should be that. Maybe that might be the documentary we need to lead up to, before we move up over to the whole African architecture piece, because I think that would be something that would be doable. And for a little bit less money, but I mean, like I said, we could push big. But see, what I'm saying is, I hear you. I'm not arguing the point, but like you said, there's something missing, and I don't just think that we think that we were slaves. Yeah, because a lot of my kids got very high self-esteem, low test scores. I don't understand it. I have never ran into such, in some cases, brilliant idiots. I have never ran into so many, and you know what I'm saying. And it's like they know they know more than we ever had. They got possibly, you know what I'm saying. But what I'm thinking, I'm thinking is more of a power vacuum for me. I'm thinking it's more of a power vacuum because I know that our children are exposed to our history. They hear it.
Not nearly like, I mean, you're at a very unique school. Like, I know from myself, most of the people, like when I'm telling people right now about this project, for example, in our age range, man, like most people I went to school with, including myself, Black history was three pages in the history book in high school. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it was. You lucky you had 3. Two of mine was tore out.
So it's like there was already like the only reason why I knew more is I happened to have a mother that was in the civil rights movement, so she could bear witness to me things from her actual experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I'm telling you this because I think, and I mean, don't get me wrong, because I also think, I mean, so part of it is definitely the frames, but then the other part becomes, that's where I get into like my book, because it's like, what kind of habits do you have? It's like, what are your habits of body? What are your habits of mind? What are your habits of thought? Because this is the other place where I think we don't have. Like, for example, I saw this when I was a teacher at Ohio State. Or an instructor, rather. When I was at Ohio State, like, I could see the kids. Like, they hadn't developed good study habits.
Right.
Like, they weren't less smart than the white kids. But the white kids had gone to, like, I went to a very good high school. And one of the things that my high school did was they were very serious about 2 particular things, which is teaching us how to be able to organize ourselves to studying and take notes, and the ability to write a coherent essay. When I was at Ohio State, I'm going to tell you that, like, 95% of black kids could not write an essay. Like, if you had to write an essay that was going to get graded on, like, quality of essay, like, what they'll do, like, with James doesn't, like, I've seen my boys test, like, at the and this is a black college in the South. These kids can't write an essay. In fact, they don't know how to write a sentence. What he does is that he'll grade on a kind of curve where it's like, if it seems like you have the right words in there and certain concepts, he'll read between the lines and be like, okay, you really did the study. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they actually can't write an essay. Like, I've watched it. Like, they couldn't write it. They don't even really know how to write a sentence. If you can't write a sentence, you can't write an essay, because an essay is a whole bunch of sentences. These are college kids that can't write a sentence. I saw a similar thing at Ohio State. The kids couldn't write a sentence. What are your study habits? What are your learning habits?
That should be the documentary too. But hey, you got. I mean, it's so much. It's so much. You know, and but go ahead. I'm just.
We have to kind of rebuild a whole new
culture,
structure of consciousness and thinking, and like we gotta, like, there's not a lot that we have right now that needs to stay, honestly. Like, we need to really revolutionize. Like, they talk about the American Revolution. I'm like, we need to have a complete revolution of ourselves as humans.
Mm.
We got to revolutionize our own neighborhoods. I mean, we I was going through something today, and I just saw so much of them. It was so dirty, bro.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Like, Germantown, bro. Germantown was just like all this garbage. Black people was living in filth, man. And I'm like, bro, the white man didn't do that to us, bro.
Tastes like normal water.
Like, we have to clean up our neighborhoods, bro. If I showed you a picture, there's little kids, I'm like, there's little kids running through this garbage, because there's garbage everywhere, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that habit? Like, we're teaching little kids to think, like, why don't anybody pick up the garbage? Because the people before them didn't pick it up, and the people before them pick it up. We pass down bad habits. Like, we're poor stewards of our own neighborhoods, just at a basic level. Like, there's a lot of ways in which we're off of who we are, who we've been, who we need to be.
Mm. You done brought up several different e-courses, e-books, actual books, and documentaries that we've gone to talk about, partner. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you before you come and sign on to the team, we got to decide on what position you going to play. You know what I'm saying? Is it going to be the international filmmaker, the local filmmaker, or the habit guru? I mean, you got a lot of hats that you wear, man. A whole lot, because we went from African architecture all the way to us living in dirty-ass neighborhoods.
But I mean, because it's like, black people in Africa, like, if you read about these ways that we live, we have these beautiful, elegantly designed villages. Like, we didn't have our shit all raggedy. Like, that's not, for 1,000 years we didn't do that stuff. Like,
but for those thousands of years, we owned that shit.
But when the ghetto, even the crime, the dirtiness of the ghetto right now, that doesn't really happen until the 70s.
Right. I mean, that's when. Go ahead.
Man, black people never had this shit all raggedy in the 60s. I saw pictures of the infamous Corbini Green in Chicago. Black people had gardens. They had plants. It looked like just black people had this stuff looking beautiful. They didn't have a lot, but what they had, they made something beautiful out of it.
Oh yeah. So
that was Corbini.
So maybe there need to be the investigation. What started happening in the 70s forward. I mean, because there is like a shift. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a total shift for us with our age grade coming in, because that's our time, John. That's when we came in.
Here goes the two shifts. I think the first shift happens, and I think this is a documentary got to be done. But the first shift happens.
Wait, should it be done? Wait, before you say it, should it be done before the African architecture, or should it be done after the African architecture?
I don't know when the order is. In fact, there could be discussions about the order things. But
don't leave that shit to me, because I'll tell you exactly which one I think should come first. But go ahead.
Well, here's the thing, though. 1919, you know about this, the Red Summer. Because I'm going to argue to you that, like, black people don't get messed up by slavery to the degree that that everybody want to say we did. I can only say this because I this is something that I really know about. And black people, right after slavery, we start building businesses. We start building these groups where we're like, I think they're called spendthrift organizations, where we're like pooling our resources together financially and, you know, doing business and all this different type of stuff. We start all kind of companies. We're inventing stuff. We're getting patents left and right. This is all happening with 10 years of slavery. We're building banks. We got churches. We start building schools not that further on. You know what I'm saying? Like colleges. Black people building colleges. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, when is the last time that black people built a college? We built a whole bunch of them. You know what I'm saying? I say all this because right after slavery, and then you know the fact that we came out of slavery, and we were the most skilled workers. Can I get a large crack lemonade right now? That's it.
I know you're not talking about trifleness driving through the Wendy's drive-through window. Oh my God, you eating the white girl's burger.
But I'm out here in the, you know.
I understand. Pull around, get your burger. Go ahead.
But so I was saying that we're building all this stuff right after slavery. Like, you thinking, oh, black people broke down in the trauma. Then why are we millionaires? Why 20 years after slavery are white people building up organizations to try to harass black people because they're already getting outpaced, because black people are having better businesses, because black people are more skilled workers, and white people are already feeling like, man, we got to try to do something about these black people because they're beating us. They're beating us economically, and they can't handle that. Their ego can't handle it. And then their wallets looking kind of tight because, me and John and Hatem could fix it, or White Charlie and the boy could fix it. John and Hatem really know what they're doing, though. Let's go to John and Hatem. Like, that was what was going on, man. We were killing them. So if we were this group of people that was so scarred from slavery, then how are we doing all this stuff? Like, the problem happens in 1919 because white folks have realized that...
I would take it back a little bit farther, but go ahead.
If they realize if they don't do something to us, that they're not going to be able to control us much longer. So they're going to have to figure something out, because a little bit further and they're not going to be able to control what we're doing. Because it's not like they talk about Black Wall Street. There wasn't one Black Wall Street. There were multiple Black Wall Streets.
We talk about that on my show all the time.
Yeah, there were multiple places where black people...
I mean, actually, this is what's familiar. This would sound kind of like your documentary. The Black Wall, or what they call Black Wall Street, is sort of like the monuments in Africa, because there's a lot of them that have been totally buried and never have been talked about again. I mean, like I said, even in Columbus, like if you go to the downtown Columbus Library, at least when it was open, I don't know if they changed, but if you walk up the stairs, they got stairs on the side of the stairs. They got art of pictures of Columbus, of Black Columbus. You know what I'm saying? And you wouldn't even recognize Mount Vernon. I mean, like you said, it's clean, it's busy, it's packed. You know what I'm saying? And this was going on all over the country. But I would challenge you on the Red Summer, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'm thinking.
Let me finish
go ahead, go finish.
So what ends up happening, though, is that you got all this stuff that black people are doing, and black people are millionaires, and we built banks. Like there's over 100 banks. I'm just saying because when was the last time we heard about black people starting a bank? We built over 100 of them that I know about before 1919. How many did we build after 1919? How many patents did we get after 1919? Like you can start how many businesses did we start after 1919? Like you can see this, it's like a night and day drop off. Like what ends up happening to me, the biggest thing that ends up happening in the first wave of the problem, 1919, they go into these places, they steal our wealth, the stuff, our equipment, our tools, like the stuff that they could just take from us, they took it. And then they killed all these brilliant, innovative scientists and thinkers and political people, and they just massacred all of them by the thousands, city by city. Killed 2,000 or 3,000 over here in this city. Just kill 2,000 or 3,000 over here in this city. They weren't just killing random people. They were trying to get the best and the brightest. That right there, that's the trauma to me. That's the first real bad trauma that starts to turn black people inside out. Because I think that black mothers start to be worried about their young black boys and women, girls who have all these brilliant ideas, because they realize not only did they go and kill thousands of us city by city, but then they just got away with it. They just never got arrested, or they just simply got away with it. They massacred us, and then they just walked away. They never had to pay a single price. And so then, that's the first thing. Then the second thing happens 50 years after that, because this is where you get all that stuff that's happening in the late 60s. And then we realize again that they start killing, Martin, then they kill Malcolm, and they're killing some of our important leaders. And then next thing you know, we're having all these riots. And right there, I think, was like a certain break. Like somewhere in that late 60s, early 70s, we had a certain break. And then I just think that black people, it was the second, I guess technically it really is a third grade trauma, but that third trauma, I just think it was the one that just really just knocked us off kilter completely. That's how I see it.
Now that would be, that'd be a documentary I would want to see, because you'd be able to show the drop off that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? As far as the patents, the creativity, because if you think about it, 1919, you know what I'm saying? How many generations from there? You know what I'm saying? You count the generations, and you might be able to see a progression of the drop off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that might be a moneymaker there, so that we're going to do, but the whole piece is, we got to document some shit. We got to do something, John. We got to do something, right? I
guess I just want to start at the beginning when I think about it. Like, I want to go back and say, I want to start by saying this is how dope we were in the first place, and then start moving towards the future. That's my thought.
I would prefer to go from the fucked up to the fabulous, because because the fucked up is where the news at. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, there's a so what factor with our history. You know what I'm saying? I recognize a so what factor. Brother, by the way, and I'll get to the so what factor. Brother Kwame said, if you put a brick in water and tell it to swim, and all the bricks that would think bricks aren't worth a damn. So, you can't, a brick ain't designed to swim. And he said we had all the skilled labor. At one point in time, we definitely did. And they formed a lot of the unions and stuff to try to keep us out. And we know this. And this is an important aspect. You know what I'm saying? This is an important aspect.
Like only a handful of us know it.
Huh?
Only a handful of us know it, though. That's the problem.
Well, but I would challenge you on that too. How many white people know their history? Yeah. I mean, really, how many white people really know their history?
Well, see, that's the thing. How does one become indoctrinated? Like, a part of what I think about ancient African architecture is that, like, I was talking to my boy Zoo one day, and I said, I was talking about the type of pillars, the type of columns that the Romans made, and I can't remember any of them right now, but at the time between me and him, we figured out the 3 main types. It's like when we went to school, they want us to learn about the aqueduct. They want us to learn about the brilliant design and the sophistication and the engineering. Like it was an indoctrination. Like I don't necessarily even think that they were thinking that they were indoctrinating us, but it was definitely an indoctrination.
Shit, yeah, I believe that. I believe they know. But go ahead. I mean, because shit, what else is education? Is that education is indoctrination? But go ahead.
So we're being indoctrinated into, like, whether or not it was just the fact that it's like, just from reading it and having to study it in high school. I remember me and Zoo, I can't even remember them right now, but at the time, we remember all 3 of them. And we started laughing. And we're like, man, we learned this stuff like over 30 years ago, and we still got this stuff in our head. And I'm saying that it's like, it might be, it's not even something that you have to necessarily really remember as much as I think that it makes the point to black people, man, white people have built a lot of dope shit. And whether or not you say that black people haven't done shit, it's like, it makes the point that like, man, white people did all this stuff, and then look at this little piddly stuff that they got that we did. And it tells you a story, even if you don't, you make the leap in your mind, well, man, they got more going on than us. Their mind must be more developed than us. They got more intelligence than us. Like, that's how you start to get in your head. That's how you start to get the white man and his brains and his genius in your head. Because you see all the stuff that he did, and you don't have nothing, and in your mind, you don't got nothing that's equivalent. It's not even that white kids are
or you don't have the repetition. What you're saying is we're missing the repetition of the greatness, like you said, doing it until they get bored with it. We're doing it. We're doing it sporadic, not sporadically, not regular enough so that they can see it. We're not having those conversations with them, and not only they're not hearing it from their parent, even though they might be hearing it from their parents, and they might be hearing it during Black History Month, they're not hearing it from the officials in their life, like their pastors, like their teachers, that they see every day. Those individuals supposedly empower in their lives. Like, I would go into some of my classes at school, and when they're doing history, they got the lights off, they got the slideshow of the Greek and Roman history and learning about the Spartans and shit. And what you're saying is that we have to set up environments where we have that type of intense class, intense study on our shit. To a point where a motherfucker would be like, I'm bored and fade off into a tizzy, and then 30 years later be sitting around joking with one of his friends about some shit that they learned in class. But it just happened to be black shit.
But hear me, they might have learned it 30 years ago. They might not remember the details, but they definitely feel superior though because of it. You see what I'm saying?
Man, and I like how you made your voice sound kind of sinister on that shit. That was brilliant. Don't be trying to outdo your voice on my goddamn show. I do the voices here, dude.
Because when I see white people that get mad, I've watched white people, and when they start spouting stuff, well, look at what we did, and they start reciting, these are the things. They start talking about, like, I've listened to white people, when they start get mad and they want to start talking for white superiority, they start bringing up they start bringing up the Greeks and the Romans. They start bringing up the fact that we went to the moon. Like, whether or not they remember all the details,
it don't matter. We did that. It don't matter. Team White did that.
Exactly. Like, look at all the stuff that Team White's done. Look at all, and they feel empowered by it. I don't think that necessarily that like black kids have to remember the details about Adams Observatory the way that I do, as much as they have to have a somewhere. It has to affect their soul and their consciousness that, man, everything that you did, we did at least that, if not more. So all your little talk about white supremacy doesn't even faze me. Because I actually know that we were building stuff before you did. And all this is just your little ego, childish, trying to make yourself feel good about yourself. But it's not based on fact. Because my thing is that I see a lot that just... Go ahead.
How would we get that type of curriculum See, because one of the major pieces as far as the whole reparations movement that I really want to focus on is not only getting money in the hands and pockets of ADOS directly, but changing or at least taking control of the education system that affects our children, and being able to develop curriculum that really could do what you're talking about. See, because really, if you think about it, John, in the 70s, because you said when you noticed that this shit really started affecting us, is in around the 70s. Do you know what else started happening around the 70s, John? Please tell. Huh? No. I mean, even more potent than the drugs.
What?
We start integration. We started, our generation is the first generation to actually, like, in a sense, really start being put in those schools. Now, of course, it was our parents that they was expecting, but we was the first, in a sense, bus babies.
Yeah.
Think about it. Listen, John. John, how old are you? I'm 50. I'm 50. How old am I?
You're 52.
I'm 52. I am a bus baby. As a matter of fact, I went to a damn near all black school until I moved from my grandmother's house, and well, I went to Margaret Park, which was integrated, and then after that, I went to an integrated middle school, and then I went to an integrated high school. But our generation was the first, and now, because I was going to do a paper in college, where, because the thought hit me in sitting in one of my classes, where we had this park called the Sand Pile, and for me, the Sand Pile was a paradise, because it was a park that was built right around the time that I was born, and it was basically grass and a sand pit that they put brick structures in and wood structures that you could climb up on, jump down into the sand, roll around in the sand, and I mean, it was a whole park like this with water. It was like a water park and all this shit. It was free, and run around, get free lunch in the summertime, right? Now, but check this out. I remember growing up being able to go play over at the Sand Pile after I got out of the black school, after I got out of the black neighborhood school. But as we start busing out, you start seeing the Sand Pile start to change. The children wasn't in the communities anymore. We was all being bussed out. And as we was being bussed out, nobody started going to the park. So the sand started getting hard, because nobody was playing in the damn park no more. The space was open, so now other shit could move in. So you can imagine what started moving in. The broken bottles in the sand now, because nobody is there to make sure that it's safe for the kids anymore. All the children are bussed out. And you can start seeing the whole neighborhood change when the children start being bussed out of the communities. So you got the parents going to work. Now you got an economy where no longer is it one, where it takes one check to support a family, it takes two. All of those generations are getting older and starting to retire. So you got two parents going out to work, you got children leaving the neighborhood, and you got all types of shit happening during the day in the neighborhoods while everybody's out. I'm sorry.
And I'm just saying, the war on drugs starts with Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon is the first person to start the war on drugs.
And he also was the one that started the black capitalism shit too. A lot of people don't know that too. That was part of his hustle.
He started, because the war on drugs, when he started getting he's squeezing the black men out of the household.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I mean, but when I'm saying, I hear, because I'm agreeing with all that. But there was all these factors. But a lot of it was that we started, we fell for the illusion that there was a better life for us. I started being programmed, as you probably started being programmed. You gotta escape. You gotta get educated so you can get up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
You know, but they never told us what we knew what get out of here meant, but we never really thought about what get out of here meant. Escape from what?
I mean, you know where I live. You know where I used to live on the east side of Columbus, right?
You say who?
You know where I used to live in Columbus, right?
Yes.
Like that whole over there, man. It's like as white people started gentrifying that whole area, I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm looking at all these houses, I'm like, black folks, y'all had the dopest houses in Columbus under your hand. But, you thoughtlessly you're kind of having this let's get out of the ghetto thing.
Right. It ain't even get out the ghetto, it's get out of us. That was even deeper. We were told that we were supposed to escape who we were. And we bought into the shit. We bought it we bought into it, John, as a group. We weren't trying to move out the ghetto, we was trying to move out of us. We just didn't recognize it.
If you're not told your history, your intelligence, your value, this is what happens. You don't not have those questions. You just answer them in your own way.
Ooh.
They don't.
Ooh.
Like, I still go back and forth when I think about the thing that this sister said to me when she told me that it's a white man's world and we're just living in it. Like, to me, that is how a lot of black people end up feeling. They're thinking, man, look at white people done built all this stuff for thousands of years. Look at what they did in Rome. Look at what they did in Greece. Look at all the scientists. Look at all the mathematicians. Look at we in the ghetto with our ghettos. Like, I'm talking to black kids that they don't even realize that there was a time when the ghetto wasn't 30. That the ghetto wasn't, in fact, actually the ghetto.
Hold
that black
on.
people used to have this shit.
I'll keep on. I mean, finish your statement. I just want to read some of the stuff that Brother Kwame is pointing out. He asked something. Was Dorian one of them? I don't know if I think he might be mentioning Dorian, Brother Dorian. To something back a while ago. Brother Kwame said, recall my telling you how I want our children to organize their thoughts and presentations. Then we bring up how the Greeks and Romans worshiped the perfect man of Ethiopia, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey. I mean, but and all that could be brought up, but because what I think, because we all are in agreement, but the issue is that John is possibly stating, and I don't want to let me know if I'm misquoting you or twisting what you're saying. We could tell him that, but it's not enough for us to tell him that once. We have to enforce that with an over and over and over again presentation to where it gets so deep down into them that go ahead.
We have to indoctrinate our kids.
You got to who? Indoctrinate our kids, yeah. That's what Rites of Passage did, yeah. I mean, not only did Rites of Passage do it, but the culture, the culture is the software for life. Your body is the hardware. The culture is the software to show you how to run in the world. And the software we got is corrupted. It's corrupted with other people's shit.
I'll give you a perfect example. I had a friend that I went to school with.
There you go, trying to out-example me. But go ahead. I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
But my boy's name was Michael Jackson, right?
No, it wasn't. He used to catch hell, didn't he? He used to catch hell, didn't he? But go ahead.
So people had a little jokes for him, but he was pretty cool though. But Michael Jackson, he actually got 1,500 something on the SAT. And I remember this because he never went to college, and I was like, dude, because he was getting recruited, because when they saw he got that high on the SAT, colleges was like recruiting him.
Right.
Major colleges, because they were like, damn, black boy ghetto, over 1,500 SAT, it's like diamond in the rough, we'll get him here, he'll excel. He didn't want to leave, because he's like, they don't want me there. Like he
Hey,
never want,
why
like he never
y'all
wanted to
using the
leave home.
indoor
He never
broom for the
felt comfortable
outside?
leaving the, leaving the block. Okay, here goes my whole thing with that. Like, because he felt comfortable at home. Because he doesn't realize that, like, because he looks at Harvard as some place where, how does he belong at Harvard? But Michael Jackson, if he's like indoctrinated the way we're talking about, where he realizes
where you going?
There's no history.
No, you're not.
You're not going nowhere.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, man. It's real life here, Gye-Nyame Journey. Go ahead.
But what if Michael Jackson would have realized that all the incredible things that black people have done in this country,
Close
and
that
then
door.
known that powerful history that we had in the past? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like that Michael Jackson would have gotten the $1,500 on his SAT and then be like, dude, I'll go to any school I want because I'm a man of the world. It's like, I was making mathematics before people were still living in freaking caves or shit. So I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. Like, I just think that that's a part of how it works. I think that if you want to give these young, because I look at Michael Jackson, I'm thinking, how did Michael Jackson never go to a major college? And it's like, he never even went to school. Like, in fact, what he does right now for a living is fix computers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he's got that intelligence to go and fix your computer. But he never left our hometown.
Now you remember, we could bring a little bit closer home, because you remember. I mean, I don't know if you remember Jamar.
Come on, man, stop playing.
I mean, you know why he ended up back in the neighborhood.
Why are you in the back of the neighborhood?
Because he missed the neighborhood. He was at Central State. He decided to come back. He missed the hood. I missed the hood. That's a nigga, the hood don't miss you. It'll be here, I promise. It'll be here. Get your ass up out of here. I miss you. I'm like, nigga, what?
And that's, I guess, the thing. It's like, I think that, because one thing that I developed within myself is my comfort zone isn't in a place. My comfort zone is internal. You can't take me out of my comfort zone. Like, you put me in a room of 100 white people, and you haven't taken my comfort zone away from me. Like, in fact, I'm probably not going to notice unless somebody, like, makes some type of big deal about it. You know what I mean?
Brother Kwame, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Brother Kwame say, being around Whitey is next to being righty.
But I mean, that's where it's just like, cause it's like you remember Idiot Boy Cafe?
Who?
On campus. You remember Idiot Boy Cafe on campus?
No.
North Campus?
No.
It was a coffee shop, and I remember a lot of people from Black Studies were like, man, how you go up in here? Because it's like, it was, not a lot of black people go to coffee shop. And so it was like, how you go up in here? Huh?
Then, now, everybody, black folks looking for free Wi-Fi. But go ahead.
So, and I hear you on that. But I remember being up in there, and, like, people are, like, looking at each other. And they're like, man, there's all white folks in here. How do you feel comfortable in here? And I'm looking at them, I'm thinking to myself, man, you actually notice these white people. I don't even really notice. They're, like, in the background of my mind. Like, I'm here to do what I got to do. Like, I know, like, there's no place, and I say this because my centeredness as a black man means that I take that with me wherever I go. I mean, I guess that's a part of why I consider my power and ability to be the tortoise, because I bring my home with me in a certain sense, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I don't have this thought of, like, that there's a place that, like, if I feel like I want to go whitewater rafting, and somebody says, yo, white people don't go whitewater rafting, I don't care who tells me that. I'll be looking at them like they're insane. I'll be like, if I feel like I want to go whitewater rafting, then black people whitewater raft because I'm black and I do what the hell I want to do. Like, I think that, like, when I look at my boy Michael Jackson, the reason I bring him up, it's like, I think he created mental boundaries for himself. Like in his mind, he had boundaries, but they were just mental boundaries that he created there.
Yeah.
And he had mental boundaries because he didn't know the power of
Don't
who he
take the
was.
time
He
going
didn't
out there.
know.
I'll watch them tomorrow. I'm sorry, go ahead. Real life at Gye-Nyame Journey. Go ahead.
But I think that that's a part of how I think we get lost, that we think that there's some type of boundary. It's like I remember getting to the argument with these young brothers in Oakland about boating, and they're saying, "No, the boating is some white boy shit, man." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me, man?" And they're like, "Dude, you don't even know what you're talking about." They're like, "What, dude?" They're trying to be like asking me who the heck I think I am, and I'm like, "Dude, you know that boating? People have been boating for over 80,000 years." And they're like, "All right." And I'm like, "Okay, so if you know about what even white people are saying about the biological history, other races don't come out of us till like 30,000 years ago, and they slowly kind of start to come out of us. It doesn't just like snap into a white man or Asian man. That happens over thousand years. So I'm like, the first 50,000 years of boating, it's a dark-skinned black man is rocking a boat. That's just what the history tells us. So you talk about boating and some white man shit. I'm like, you can't be more silly. Like, black people boated for 50,000 years before there was any other people but black people on the earth.
Now, and that's part of that. That's part of that repetitive lesson, so that you can think like that. You understand what I'm saying? Because boating is a necessary aspect of war. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I mean, you're not. You're going to run into a river or a body of water to cross at some point in time. So you need to have a navy. You know what I'm saying? And Brother Kwame say all of us had Michael Jackson as a friend. We all have friends like Michael Jackson. Was brilliant, but just couldn't see themselves going into these situations because they were uncomfortable, right? Or they thought that they didn't fit, right? You know what I'm saying? But what you're saying is, because one of the arguments is you're saying that as a black man, we should be able, or as a black person, we should be able to go anywhere and feel comfortable. Then also another part of the argument is, you know what I'm saying, our children shouldn't have to go to a Harvard to be, how can I put it? Where is our Harvard? But your third documentary you talked about will be discussing what happened to the black Harvards, I would assume. You know what I'm saying? Why there's no black Harvards. You know what I'm saying? Because that one where you was talking about the summer of 1919 and the sin and shit right there, I think that might work well with that whole story about why there's no black Harvards. You know what I'm saying? Because, Michael Jackson shouldn't have to go to Harvard and be surrounded by them. He should be able to go to one of our universities and be surrounded by us.
And I think that's the thing. It's like, you can't have it. I don't see it as like one documentary is one hit or quitter. Like, I have a tendency to think about this in terms of punches. Like, I don't think you can hit them one time. I think you want to knock somebody out, you got to just keep on hitting them. Right? You got to keep on just squaring on that jaw. Pow, pow, pow. To the point where they start getting punched up, they can't even hold their hands up anymore. Just boop, and then you knock them out. Like, oh yeah, you can handle. Like, I think somebody could see Asian African architecture, but like, okay, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I think they could see Asian African architecture and then see December of 1919. And be like, okay, yeah, no, that's powerful. I get you. And then I think you could add in like women of civil rights movement and be okay.
Now,
Brother
Kwame said perhaps intuitively he or they know that they would co-opt him or crush him. Because that's what they do. I mean, that's the goal. If you go to one of those universities, we already know that's the goal. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Particularly, I had an opportunity. My mother got me into I had an opportunity to go to a school called South Kent when I was in grade school. And intuitively, I knew that I didn't want to go because it was like my mother told me, well, there's some black kids here. And I was like, oh, who are they? And it was like Ben Vereen's kids were going there. That was like some of the black kids that were going there. those like the kids are like diplomats and you know all that different type of stuff. And my sense was it was like one of those schools where you wear a suit every single day.
Right.
And it just my sense, I felt like I would lose something of myself there. But this is a part of the fact that part of the reason why I would feel that is because in my own family there was not a strong indoctrination. Like because I could have gone to one of those schools, but it could have been a thing where my family, for example, makes sure that they come out and see me like once a week or once every other week. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And maybe not all the time. Maybe sometimes it's my uncle. Maybe sometimes my cousin. But they also let them white people know at that school that yeah, he got family and they gonna always be around and they don't fuck around. You know what I'm saying? Like if you just leave me up at the school by myself.
Yeah, that's.
And rude me. Yeah, but what if my family's like, nigga, you need to go to the school, get these opportunities, get this high-level education, but don't worry because we're going to be around all the time and make sure that we got you so that you stay rooted. That could have definitely happened. You see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
but we have to learn in different kind of...
Right, because your whole family would have had to been educated for that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because... y'all ain't going to be coming in and out. Close it all the way, please. All right, but hey, Brother John, I got to go on because I got another show that should have been started. But I want to thank you for joining us. Like I said, if you want to stick around for the next show, call back in about 5 minutes because I'm gonna shut down, run a commercial, and then come back and do this show. So family, y'all gonna be hearing about some of these projects. And we're going to work on helping Brother John fulfill some of these Gye-Nyame. Going to be a Gye-Nyame Journey Media production. We're going to be one of those production. We're going to get some production credits on this shit. And we're going to get this together. What can they expect from you in the next few months, John?
Well, I'm going to finish that draft on my book, number one.
Okay.
And then, I know what they can expect. In the next few weeks, I'm gonna get on some. I'm gonna do those Zoom things I was telling you about. So I'm gonna interview some of the scientists on a Zoom call.
Okay.
And I guess I'll be doing that somehow. I'll be doing it with you through your auspices. But
you can do it. You use Google Meet. If you use Google Meet, either way, Zoom or whatever. But I got a Google Meet that you can use, so don't worry about it.
Okay. But I'm gonna interview at least 4 scientists that are actually people who got their hands on the dirt in these different places that we're talking about. So not just me, like with what I know, but people that like that's what they live and breathe and can really start to just give us a profound discussion and a profound breakdown of like all the incredible things about these people and their development and their knowledge and what they understood.
All right.
That's coming super soon.
All right, so all right, cool. So we're gonna work on that. All right, family, I want to thank y'all. This is Brother John Calhoun. We're gonna give him a round of applause. Give him a round of applause. Come on now, give it up, give it up. I know you can't hear that yet, John. I'm working on integrating the sound. I just got to figure out how to make it so that all the sound is going through the same thing. I don't know, maybe I might need to learn how to run it through my mic. I don't know. But I want to thank you for joining us. And family, we are out. And, if you come back in about 10 minutes, we will be doing folk tales for grown folks. So, we are out. So I'm going to go on and play this. Well, I ain't going to even play the commercial. What I'm going to do is I am going to stop streaming on this side. Hold on. Let me just do it. Stop talking. Make it happen, brother. Make it happen. Folk tales for grown folks. Let's do that. Oh, Chrome has stopped on me. It crashed. The whole damn thing just crashed on me. All right. That's how I go here sometime in Gye-Nyame Journey. All right. So I can stop streaming. Huh? Oh, it's real life here. It's real life here, Gye-Nyame Journey all the time. So, all right, John. I'll see you in a minute, man.
All right, brother.